Why does a gray American Shorthair become so gentle after one voice in the house is suddenly gone? The cat cannot explain grief in human words, but it can feel that the home has changed. Rooms sound different now, footsteps pause longer, and the surviving owner moves through silence more slowly. A cat notices these shifts through routine, scent, posture, breathing, and the emotional rhythm of daily life. What looks like simple cat behavior can become quiet support when a grieving person can barely speak. This gray American Shorthair does not understand death as people do, yet absence still feels unmistakably real. One familiar scent fades from the rooms, and one familiar body no longer returns to its place. So the cat answers the only way it can, through presence, touch, watchfulness, and repeated tiny rituals. The first comforting action is simple. It stays physically closer to the surviving owner than before. Instead of choosing its usual window perch, the cat settles near the owner's legs on the floor. This closeness is not random, because cats often move toward the most emotionally changed person nearby. Grief changes posture, pace, voice, and body temperature, and sensitive cats quietly notice those signals. The gray cat reads sadness through lowered movement, longer stillness, and the scent of stress hormones. So it shortens the distance, choosing nearness over independence, even inside a house it already knows well. To people, that choice can feel like deliberate comfort, because it arrives exactly where loneliness feels sharpest. The owner sits on the sofa, and the cat places its body within reach without demanding attention. It does not climb away quickly, and it does not disappear when the room becomes painfully quiet. That steady nearness gives the grieving body something warm, breathing, and living to anchor against again. Even when the owner says nothing, the cat remains there, almost like a small, weighted heartbeat. American Shorthairs are often calm and measured, so this quiet loyalty can feel especially grounding. Their comfort rarely looks dramatic. It looks like staying when every other presence has become uncertain. The cat may sit beside shoes, under the coffee table, or directly against the owner's ankle. Each position says the same thing in feline language. I am close, and I am not leaving. For a grieving owner, that persistent nearness can feel like the first safe silence after terrible news. The second action appears when the owner stands up, because the cat begins following from room to room. It trails through the hallway with soft, deliberate steps, never rushing, never overtaking, simply keeping contact. To an outside eye, that might look clingy, but it often reflects vigilance after disruption. Cats depend on patterns, and grief tears patterns apart, so they monitor the changed person more carefully. The gray American Shorthair watches where the surviving owner goes and how long they stay there. When the owner pauses at a doorway, the cat pauses too, as if measuring the emotional weather. This following behavior can also reduce separation, especially after one household member has permanently vanished. The cat cannot restore the missing person, but it can refuse another disappearance inside the same day. And so it escorts the owner to the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, and back again. That shadowing is a feline way of keeping the fragile bond physically unbroken. For someone grieving, being followed can feel strangely protective, almost like being quietly checked on. The cat waits outside closed doors, not because it understands funerals, but because the house feels incomplete. In an unsettled home, the surviving owner becomes the cat's safest remaining emotional landmark. Following them is both self-soothing for the cat and reassuring for the person. This mutual need creates a tender loop, where each presence steadies the other a little. What begins as attachment starts to feel like companionship strong enough to carry the day forward. The third comforting action is softer still. The cat offers long, slow blinks and a relaxed gaze. In cat language, slow blinking signals safety, calm intention, and the absence of threat between companions. A grieving owner may not know the science, but the feeling is instantly understandable. The gray cat looks up from the rug, half closes its amber eyes, and blinks with no tension. That expression is not empty. It is feline trust shown in the most delicate possible form. Around grief, cats often avoid overstimulating behavior and choose quieter signals that do not overwhelm. A slow blink asks for connection without asking the person to perform or respond. It gives comfort that respects emotional exhaustion, which is why it can feel so moving. The owner sees those softened eyes and receives a wordless invitation to breathe more gently. Sometimes they blink back, and that tiny exchange becomes the calmest conversation in the house. The cat may hold the gaze only briefly, then lower its head and remain nearby. That restraint matters, because grieving people often need company without pressure. Slow blinking is perfect for that, offering contact while leaving space around the pain. In that moment, the cat is not fixing sorrow. It is reducing alarm inside it. The owner's shoulders drop a little, because the room suddenly contains visible softness again. Such a small signal can remind a broken heart that gentleness has not disappeared with loss. The fourth action is the most familiar one. The cat leans in and begins to purr. Purring can happen for many reasons, but in comforting moments, it often accompanies relaxed social contact. The gray American Shorthair climbs onto the lap, chest, or side of the sofa with care. Then its body settles, weight spreading slowly as the low vibration starts beneath the fur. That sound is simple, repetitive, and steady, which makes it deeply regulating for distressed humans. The owner does not need words, because the purr creates a rhythm the nervous system can follow. Many grieving people stop breathing fully, and the purr gently invites slower breathing back. The cat may also press its flank or forehead against the owner's waiting hand for extra contact. This body contact increases warmth, tactile reassurance, and the feeling of being chosen in that moment. Some cats knead softly while purring, using the same motion linked to early safety. On a grieving lap, that kneading can feel heartbreakingly tender rather than playful or accidental touch. As the cat is not performing therapy, yet its living rhythm still eases human overwhelm. Its fur moves under each breath, proving that life is still present in the room. For a person stunned by absence, that living vibration can become a temporary bridge back to the body. The cat stays until the owner unclenches, cries, or simply goes quiet in a softer way. Sometimes comfort is nothing more than warmth, weight, vibration, and permission to collapse safely. The fifth comforting action happens at night, when grief often feels widest and most unguarded. Instead of sleeping alone elsewhere, the cat chooses the bedroom, the doorway, or the bed edge. Night matters because sorrow usually grows louder when conversation ends, errands stop, and familiar daylight disappears. The gray American Shorthair curls near the surviving owner before sleep fully arrives. Sometimes it settles on the blanket. Sometimes it guards the doorway, like a small silent sentinel. This is not human-style protection, yet it still communicates watchfulness and nearness through position. Cats often choose resting places based on security, scent concentration, and social attachment. After a loss, the owner's bed becomes the strongest remaining map of emotional familiarity. So the cat sleeps where that familiar scent is deepest and where distress is most likely to rise. If the owner wakes suddenly, the cat is already there, breathing softly in the dark. Even that small outline on the bed can reduce the feeling of being alone with the night. The cat may lift its head, blink once, nod and settle again without turning the moment dramatic. That quiet response works because grief does not always need interruption. Sometimes it needs witness. By keeping the night shared, the cat helps make rest feel less unreachable for the owner. Sleep may still be broken and shallow, but it is no longer endured in complete solitude. In darkness, the cat becomes a warm point of continuity inside a life that feels split apart. The sixth comforting action is a gentle nudge back toward routine when the owner stops moving. Grief can freeze the body, leaving meals skipped, curtains closed, and whole hours blurred together indoors. The cat notices this too, because its own schedule depends on the household's living rhythm. So the gray cat approaches, touches a paw to the leg, or nudges a hand with its head. It may meow once, circle the ankles, or walk toward the kitchen and look back. To humans, that seems like a simple request. Yet during grief, it can also become a lifeline. The cat still wants food, water, and structure, and that need pulls the owner into action. In caring for the animal, the grieving person briefly re-enters time, movement, and responsibility. Filling a bowl or opening a curtain becomes the first manageable task of the day. The cat's insistence is gentle, but it breaks the dangerous stillness of despair. This is one reason companion animals can help mourning people survive the shapeless early days. They cannot remove grief, yet they repeatedly invite small acts that keep life functioning. A soft paw on the wrist can say, in the clearest possible way, "Come back to this moment with me." And sometimes that small moment is enough to carry the grieving owner through the next difficult hour. None of these 6 actions mean the cat fully understands human death in the way grieving people understand it. What it understands is absence, tension, disrupted routine, and the surviving person's changed emotional state. It stays closer, follows more, blinks slowly, purrs deeply, sleeps nearby, and nudges life back into motion. Those behaviors comfort the owner because they meet grief at the level of the body first. Before language returns, touch, presence, rhythm, and routine begin doing their quiet work. The gray American Shorthair becomes a witness, a companion, and a small daily reason to continue. Its comfort is honest because it is not polished, planned, or explained in any human way. It simply keeps showing up inside the exact daily places where human loss feels heaviest. And for a grieving heart, repeated presence can feel more healing than perfect words. That is how a cat quietly helps the living endure the space death leaves behind. When one person is gone forever, this gray cat comforts the one who remains by staying beautifully, stubbornly near.